everybody. So it's not too often these days that we get new Smash Ultimate news, but something Smash Ultimate did happen today. The Min Min Amiibo is out, so I bought 2 of them. I always buy 2 of the Smash Amiibos, so I can have doubles in box, and maybe one day open a whole collection. That would be a cool video if we ever finish these Amiibos, but these 2 are going to get boxed up and put on the Amiibo wall behind me. Min Min sculpt is pretty good. I like it. It has a lot of cool, like, shimmer and shine to the dragon arm there and stuff. There's a lot of cool details. Min Min's just a very detailed character. So I think this is a pretty good one. I guess my only complaint would be her arms are a little, like, tight. They don't seem as stretched out as they do in her actual artwork, but I guess that was going to happen with Amiibos. Otherwise, we'd have to have an extra big box or something for it. But overall, I think it's a very good sculpt, very good Amiibo to the Smash Ultimate Amiibo collection. Also, apparently the Min Min Amiibo doesn't have the foil that prevents you from scanning the Amiibo while it's in the box. So as an in-box collector, this is pretty awesome, except that all the other Smash Amiibos I have do have that foil. Alright, so not too much to say today about Amiibos beyond that, but it's really cool that we got the Min Min Amiibo finally. So instead, what I'm going to do today is just talk about, like, gaming news and stuff. I did a Leakly update, I think last week, or at least like 5 or 6 days ago, that just went over all the leaks and rumors and gaming news and Nintendo stuff over the last week. So I figured why not use this Amiibo video to do the same thing. I'm just going to go over all the rumors, leaks stuff, and just gaming news that's happened in the last week as sort of a roundup news video, because it just seems fitting. Oh, and just a heads up for anyone looking to pick up Switch Sports today, you actually will be forced to use TV mode for local multiplayer. So there's that if you're planning to use it for tabletop mode or on a Switch Lite. Here's a pretty interesting rumor. Imran Khan said couldn't get enough confirmation to actually write a post about it, but hearing a decent bit of chatter this week about WB Discovery shopping their game development studios around. Interested parties include EA, Take-Two, Microsoft, Sony, Tencent, NetEase, and PUBG Corp. WBD wants to sell studios and license IP, supposedly. That would be pretty huge if one of these companies actually bought this, and we'll talk more about game company acquisition later on in this video. But before we do that, let's talk Nintendo stuff. Alright, so first off, it is Kirby's 30th anniversary, and Sakurai tweeted out a cool little tweet to celebrate that, and he even talked about how the dance Kirby does when he beats Wispy Woods, where he turns into like 3 Kirbys and dances. He says he did that just because basically it looked cool, so there you go. Pretty cool little anecdote from Sakurai. While Sakurai is known for being fairly vocal over on Twitter, Miyamoto actually showed up on Twitter and took over all of the Nintendo Twitter accounts and said, after consulting with Chris San, my partner at Illuminations, on the Super Mario Bros. Film, we decided to move the global release to spring 2023, April 28th in Japan and April 7th in North America. My deepest apologies, but I promise it will be well worth the wait. And Illuminations tweeted out something similar, but they actually had an image for theirs. Miyamoto just literally took over the Nintendo Twitter accounts. I don't want to talk too much about this because it's kind of like getting political if I did, and I don't like doing that. I like talking about games and fun stuff. But I will mention this here because it actually does sort of pertain to gaming stuff just while it's on my mind. Elon Musk bought Twitter like this past week, and I only say it pertains to gaming stuff because I'm just thinking about the Nintendo Twitter accounts here, and Nintendo sometimes things get announced in directs, but sometimes we've gotten whole games announced literally on Twitter. Like, that's what the platform has been used for by big official companies like Nintendo. So I don't know if anything's going to change with Elon Musk owning Twitter, but it's possible these companies could move elsewhere if they don't feel comfortable on Twitter. I don't think that would be immediate or anything, but just strange to think that in the last few years we've gotten whole games and big news announced on the Twitter platform, and if that changed too much, then yeah, these companies might do it elsewhere or something. So I don't know, just a thought in my mind, something to keep in mind. Alright, anyway, so the Mario movie has been delayed, and that's kind of a bummer. I was hoping to see something for it soon. I know E3 is canceled this year, but I thought maybe around the same time Nintendo would do a Nintendo Direct, like in June-ish of this year, and do something for the Mario Brothers movie. Maybe we'd get our first look at the characters, or a short teaser, or even a full trailer. But now that it's pushed back to spring next year, I'm not so sure that's going to happen anymore, but who knows? We do, however, have a potential leak for the Mario Brothers movie. I don't know if this is real or not, but supposedly this got posted over on Reddit and then got taken down, so it could lead to something. Alright, so here's the post that was in our Mario, and supposedly it got taken down, so it was removed by Reddit's legal operations team. But then someone else reposted what this supposed thing that got taken down said. These leaks of some of the plot details of the Mario movie were DMCDA'd on here. By DMCDA'd, they're talking about just basically getting a copyright strike and taken down, again, by Reddit's legal teams. And then the image that they posted here that was supposedly the one that got taken down says, just going to preface this with take everything with a grain of salt. This is something that has been circulating a bit the last few days. Some people who claim to have seen a test screening or those who have spoken to someone who has seen it. What's interesting is that a few different sources have been lining up with one another. Maybe they are copying off of one another, or it's all the same source, but who knows? The last time something similar happened was with No Way Home. Before the trailer even came out, there were multiple sources lining up with the same details. The only way to know if these details are true or not is to wait till the trailer comes out. By then, we will know. If this is real, be wary, big spoilers ahead. So yeah, spoilers for anybody who doesn't want to hear this. General details, the art style is cartoonish and full of life and color. It's said to be very similar art style to Hotel Transylvania, but with Mario. The humor is a bit mixed, it's very punny, meta, so not for everyone, but there is no dabbing, no fart jokes, etc. For character designs, Mario and Luigi have slightly redesigns, but they start off the movie with more worn and dusty suits with a muted color scheme. Mario has a bluish-purple shirt instead of a brown, and Luigi has green overalls and a bluish-purple shirt as well. They switch over to their more iconic colors later on in the movie, and they have Brooklyn accents. For other characters, Donkey Kong Jr., Pauline, and Toadsworth are said to appear. Daisy is name-dropped. There are some female Toads, but not sure if any are specifically named Toadette. There is also a non-villainous character referred to as Spike, who shows up at the beginning and again at the end to congratulate them. He is kind of a greedy boss character. Assumedly, that is Foreman Spike they're talking about. When it comes to enemy types, there are Goombas, Koopas, Hammer Bros, Bullet Bills and their towers, Bonsai Bills, Lakitus, and two potentially new enemy types. One is described as having black things with teeth that kind of look like ink. The other one is described as having tiny cute ninja things. I'm not totally certain who they're talking about there, but I imagine they probably are known Mario villain characters. They probably are just lesser known ones. Specifically, Ninja comes to mind with that ninja part, so I'm assuming maybe whoever saw this just didn't recognize those as Mario characters. And then we have a plot summary. It says Charles Martinet narrates as it goes through Mario's job before joining the Wrecking Crew. Again, Foreman Spike probably makes sense for that. He saves the mayor from Donkey Kong in the real world, New Donk City. In the present, he and Luigi have more worn out and dirty costumes with a muted color scheme. Mario has a bluish-purple shirt, Luigi has a green overalls and a bluish-purple shirt as well. Mario is a bit famous, so when there is talk of turtles and gorillas fighting in the sewers, he investigates. He finds a bunch of gorillas partying and comes across an older, crankier Donkey Kong. Cranky Kong, maybe? They end up falling through a pipe to the Mushroom Kingdom. Bowser sings as we see his younger years and desire to take over the Mushroom Kingdom. He attacks, kidnaps Peach, and heads for his ship. Mario and Captain Toad go on a journey to stop him. Luigi is worried, so he goes into the sewers as well and ends up in the Forbidden Forest of Mushroom Kingdom, where he runs into Yoshi. Mario fights Bowser, but is defeated, and Kamek drops him off the ship into the Forbidden Forest, where he meets Luigi and Yoshi, and they get new costumes with their more iconic colors as they head to Bowser's castle. They come across 3 Bowser clones, which joke around, but once defeated, they shapeshift into a gross, indescribable combination of enemies. Earlier in the movie, the second song is about plumbing, but now the final song plays where basically everyone sings. Toads sing about saving the princess, Mario and Luigi sing about not losing hope, Bowser and Peach argue to the beat of the song. Kamek gives Bowser a mushroom, causing him to grow. He chases them through a pipe maze across many different locations: desert, ocean, forest, cloudy area, etc. Power-ups like Star and Fire Flower appear here as well. Kamek and Yoshi fight with Kamek using his wand to mess around and change the environment. Mario and Luigi trick Bowser into going through the last pipe, ending up in his own lava pit. Mario decides to open up a plumbing service in the Mushroom Kingdom. Post-credit scene is Bowser's skeleton, so assumedly that would be Dry Bowser. I honestly sort of dig this plot. I don't think it's that bad in my opinion, and it kind of reminds me of the Super Mario Adventures comic from the Nintendo Power issues. So if they go that route and it has that style to it, and the plot actually does follow something similar to the Super Mario Adventures comic, I'd be pretty happy about that. The only other potential, I wouldn't even call it a leak, but bit of information we can discuss about the Mario movie is an old piece of artwork that used to be online but has since been taken off. This is from Ryan Lang, who has worked on professional animation stuff before, so I think this was a pitch image to kind of pitch a Mario movie idea, but he has since taken it off. I don't know if this actually pertains to the Mario movie we're getting, or if it was just a pitch idea he had himself. I don't know how involved he actually is in the Mario movie, but it could give us an idea of what the movie might look like if they went with this concept. The fact that he had to take it offline, or he decided to take it offline anyway, gives us at least some reason to believe maybe the Mario movie people wanted him to remove it. It's also possible the movie's going to look totally different from this, and they wanted him to remove it because they didn't want people to expect something that wasn't actually what they're going to get. Oh, and supposedly Charlie Day said he'd love to do a Luigi's Mansion like spin-off movie if this one really takes off. I guess they're already going to do a Donkey Kong spin-off movie, so they must be pretty confident in the Mario movie despite pushing it back. And a Luigi's Mansion movie would be amazing. So hopefully this builds a whole Mario cinematic universe or Nintendo cinematic universe. Or with the Sonic movie, maybe a Super Smash Bros. Cinematic universe and we just pull all the gaming characters together and do a Smash movie eventually. All right, speaking of Sonic the Hedgehog, we actually got some news about Sonic Origins. Well, okay, the news isn't exactly about Sonic Origins itself, but something's going to happen to the other Sonic games out there that are included in Origins. Sega is delisting some of the standalone versions of Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and CD, and Sonic 3 and Knuckles or whatever, ahead of Sonic Origins' schedule. So on some platforms, they're going to remove the old Sonic games so that if you want to play them, you have to buy Sonic Origins. This isn't true for everything though, such as the Nintendo Switch Online having Sonic the Hedgehog 2. That's going to stay. So I'm glad about that because that's a subscription service. It would be really scummy if they took that away. So this is mostly for stuff like, I think, Steam and stuff like that. Those games aren't going to be downloadable anymore on digital stores starting on May 20th. Again, just to prepare for people to want to buy Sonic Origins because that'll be the way to play those old games. There was also this supposed 4chan leak that got some things right. It talks about Sonic Origins, it talks about Jet Set Radio getting a game which was rumored. I talked about that. And it mentions Sonic the Hedgehog 5, so a Sonic 5 actually happening. Sonic 4 kind of stunk, but you know, there you go. It also has Shadow and Sonic Frontiers, so there's some cool stuff on here. The only thing about this leak, yes, it got some things right, but it also was posted on April 1st, so April Fool's Day. So I don't know if they just are a lucky guesser or what. I suppose it's also possible they posted this on April 1st specifically to make it look like an April Fool's joke when it's actually real information. So I don't know how I feel about this one, but there's a lot of things on here that it has gotten right. So if you're a Sega fan, feel free to look through that, see if there's anything on there that you're excited about. I think there's some cool stuff on there, but again, because it's on April 1st, I just have to kind of take it with a grain of salt. But there it is. Would be cool if it's real. Alright, speaking of leak stuff, the big leak in the last few weeks here has been the possibility that we could be getting Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance stuff coming to the Nintendo Switch Online. I've talked about that a lot in the last few videos. Well, recently we had some strange maintenance happen on the Nintendo Switch. Some of it was for the NSO, and some of it was for unknown things. Just a string of numbers, so potentially some title that has yet to be revealed. Again, possibly something Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color related, or something like that. Mondo Mega on Twitter wrote, so this maintenance here a year ago was actually for Sloop, the leaked GBA emulator. Same title ID. Proof that they naturally continued to work on it past the August 2020 build date of the leak, at least. So a while back, one of the maintenances that happened was for this GBA emulator. It has the same ID. And now we have another mysterious maintenance happening for some other unknown ID. It could be a different game in the GBA emulator or something like that. So I do feel like they're building up to actually release this thing. Now, E3, of course, has been canceled this year, but again, I still suspect Nintendo will do some sort of Nintendo Direct around the same time, like early June, and showcase the things they wanted to showcase. Possibly, they may actually announce the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance coming to the NSO. I think a E3 presentation would have been the place to do that, and with this emulator leak and everything, I feel like it might be building up to that, so I would suspect, if I had to guess when this might get announced, I would probably guess early June at what would be Nintendo's next Direct, which would have been the E3 Direct. Alright, so let's talk about another possible leak that I went over in an earlier video, and this is the Fuecoco Pokemon Starter Evolution leak. So potential spoiler warning here, though I will say the Starter Evolution concept art leaks that happen for Pokemon are very often fake, so this one might not be real anyway. So just a couple little interesting things people have noticed with this one. For one thing, the image itself actually has a mouse icon on it. It's the little magnifying glass thing. So if this image is real, it's actually a picture of like a computer screen looking at this image. You could say the faker got really sloppy leaving that mouse there, but actually wasn't like there a mouse in the credits to Sword and Shield, so this seems like typical Game Freak to me. And then also, apparently the concept art is written in Chinese, and the concept art leak that we got for Incineroar was also in Chinese, so there's some consistency here. Whether or not the leaker just did that to be consistent and faked it, or if it's actually real and they outsourced to China to make the designs or something, I don't know. And we also have the translation of it, so it says it can fly a short distance, flap flap, normal state, breathes scarlet-hued flames, in battle the wings change and become larger. So there you go, that's what it actually said on that image. Other stuff happening with Pokemon. The Pokemon Company actually recently acquired Millennium Print Group. They're a North Carolina-based company, and the Pokemon Company has now acquired them, but they've been working with the Pokemon Company for years, so this is sort of one of those, you know, just buying the company that they're already working with. Also, Game Freak is implementing an optional 4-day work week, giving employees an extra day off a week for purposes of childcare or family care. This is apparently able to be done on a monthly basis, so yeah, pretty good. Sounds like working at Game Freaks is a pretty good place to work. Pokemon also tweeted this out. It says, a new adventure through stunning Hisui begins in Pokemon Hisuian Snow. Join Alec as he explores the region, has an encounter that may change the way he views Pokemon. Tune in for episode 1 starting on 5/18 on YouTube. So it's supposedly a 3-episode limited series, but it's going to be based on the Legends Arceus stuff, back in time, Hisuian region stuff. So I'm pretty excited. I'll definitely check it out. Speaking of cartoons, we've been seeing a lot of Kingdom Hearts references in Disney cartoons. I talked about this a few videos back, and another one has popped up. The Kingdom Key was spotted in the latest trailer for Chippendale Rescue Rangers, a new Chippendale movie that's coming out. You can see it in this image, and yeah, pretty cool. So chalk this one up to another Kingdom Hearts reference in something animated from Disney. And speaking of Kingdom Hearts, the new issue of Famitsu magazine in Japan is a huge 16 pages dedicated to the Kingdom Hearts series to celebrate the 20th anniversary, and talks a bit about Kingdom Hearts 4, and there's a Nomura interview and stuff, so it's a pretty cool read if you like Kingdom Hearts. I won't go over everything because there's a ton of details here, but if you're a big Kingdom Hearts fan, there are translations out there, so just go searching. The biggest piece of information I want to hear about Kingdom Hearts 4 is whether or not the characters from The World Ends With You, or specifically the new characters from Neo The World Ends With You, will actually show up there, though Nomura has said that they are not doing the Shibuya from The World Ends With You, so the Quadratum is not the Reaper games. However, Neku in Dream Drop Distance did say that he wanted to see Sora again in Shibuya, and now Sora is in a form of Shibuya in the Quadratum, so I think it would be a huge missed opportunity, especially with Neo The World Ends With You happening, to not have the new characters and Neku and everybody show up and interact with Sora in some way in Kingdom Hearts 4. It feels like it's perfectly set up to do that in some way. And Nomura isn't saying that nothing The World Ends With You will happen in Kingdom Hearts 4, just that the Quadratum is not, the Shibuya from The World Ends With You. There was some The World Ends With You news recently, though. Some of the songs have arrived in Groove Coaster Wah Wah Party as part of a new Game Song Pack DLC. I'll be perfectly honest, I know nothing about Groove Coaster Wah Wah Party, but I really like The World Ends With You, and the music is one of the best parts of it, so pretty cool if you play Groove Coaster Wah Wah Party. Definitely check out those songs. And speaking of Famitsu magazine, we also got an article specifically on Fire Emblem Three Hopes. There was a ton of new information there. I'm not going to go over all of it, but here's a bunch of bullet points. If you want to pause the video and read through them, feel free. And in other Nintendo game news or upcoming Switch game news, Splatoon 3 is set to feature save cloud data. So that's pretty cool. That didn't happen in Splatoon 2, so you can back up your progress and your gear and stuff in Splatoon 3. And we also got some more information on Xenoblade Chronicles 3. We got a little bit of information on this Ethel character, and we learned about the 3 main types that the characters will have: attacker, defender, and healer, and they'll each have their own strengths and weaknesses that you'll want to use in battle. We also got a rating for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 from the ESRB, and it had some pretty interesting stuff in the rating summary. The game will apparently have some pretty violent scenes, with blood dripping from the characters' faces, some profanity and obscene things are going to be said, and also the game features deep cleavage and partially exposed breasts. While all of that sounds like it's going to be a pretty mature game, it actually got a T rating for teen, which is the same as the previous 2 entries, so if you've played other Xenoblade Chronicles games, expect the same kind of thing here. And that's not the only more mature Nintendo stuff that's going on. There is a rumor of an 18-plus Super Mario Bros. Lego set, and it looks to be the biggest one yet. Now, 18-plus Lego set does not mean this is going to be like a risque Lego or anything like that. That usually just means that the recommended age for building it is 18-plus. So it's going to be a tougher to build Lego and probably catered more to the older Mario fans than the younger ones. For instance, here is the Sonic the Hedgehog Lego, and as you can see, or is it 18-plus right there. And while this does feature a pretty sexy Dr. Robotnik or Dr. Eggman figure, I believe the 18 plus is literally just the recommended building age. And speaking of Mario stuff, Mario Kart Tour on Twitter tweeted out some interesting little things here. It says, a bit early, but here's a sneak peek at the next tour in hashtag Mario Kart Tour. It looks like this stage will be set in an upbeat mall. A tropical breeze may liven up the race. And they also tweeted, news, for the very first time you can hit the beach in the trick version of Coconut Mall. And also news, Nintendo replaced the Shy Guy section, new in Coconut Mall, with driving cars. What do you think of this change for the Mario Kart Tour version? I think it's pretty weird. I don't know why they did that. Another interesting piece of news that's just been floating around recently is that supposedly Yuji Naka, who was the director of Balan Wonderworld, was actually removed as director 6 months before the game came out, and he filed a lawsuit immediately against Square Enix over this. The lawsuit is over now, but he was saying that the game was unfinished, and he was criticizing Square Enix for actually going forward with releasing it. So there was definitely some strange stuff going on behind the scenes with Balan Wonderworld. Speaking of legal stuff, I don't want to get too into all this junk, but someone that was contracted by Nintendo actually has brought up some legal stuff against Nintendo recently too. This person is saying that Nintendo of America violated their right to organize, and they filed a National Labor Relations Board complaint against them. Nintendo is saying this complaint is coming from a contractor who they're claiming leaked confidential information, and that's why they were fired. So, yeah, I don't know. It's some messy legal thing. I don't want to get too involved with it. Also, a former Joy-Con drift repair supervisor said that the work volume was extremely stressful when people were sending in their Joy-Cons that had the stick drift issue. I had this happen once, so this person may have fixed my Joy-Con, I don't know. But I think it goes without saying that, yeah, the volume was probably pretty high for them fixing those. I know a lot of people who had that issue sent it in, and it was repaired swiftly and, nicely and everything, but yeah, a lot of people did have that issue, so if the team was smaller than needed and a lot of Joy-Cons were coming in, it was probably tough. Alright, in other news, an Xbox and Bethesda game showcase has been announced for June 12th, so this is likely what would have been the E3 from Microsoft, and yeah, we're going to get it as a games showcase from Xbox and Bethesda. I would also assume a Nintendo Direct will happen around that same time, and it will be what Nintendo had planned for E3. Speaking of Microsoft, they're acquiring Activision Blizzard right now, and the Activision Blizzard shareholders approved of this. Apparently, more than 98% of the shares voted at the special meeting, and they voted in favor of the proposed transaction with Microsoft. So Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard seems to be looking good. That probably will go through. Speaking of game companies being acquired, supposedly Ubisoft seems to be preparing for a sale. So possibly Ubisoft could be acquired by some other company, but for now, it's just a rumor. In other company news, Grezzo, the company responsible for many of Nintendo's remasters, like Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D or Luigi's Mansion 3D, they're hiring right now. So it's for some new project, and specifically they're looking for battle designers. So no idea what that new project might be, but worth keeping an eye on. So in PlayStation news, Sony is saying that they're blocking stacking of PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now codes for existing members prior to the new PlayStation Plus launch. But you can redeem the codes after the launch. Also, supposedly, Sony is going to require devs to offer a timed game trial for PlayStation Plus premium subscribers for any game that costs more than $34. So that's pretty cool. If you're a subscription member of that, you will get game trials for the more expensive games. You can try them out before you decide to buy them, which I think is, pretty fair. There was a rumor that the PlayStation Plus lineup had leaked for May of this year with FIFA 22, Tribes of Midgar, and Curse of the Dead Gods. And then we actually got the lineup, and it was confirmed right, that leak was true. Also, Spider-Man 2 on PS5 is supposedly going to have 3 playable characters. Peter Parker, Miles Morales, and potentially Venom or some sort of symbiote version of Peter, so maybe like the black costume Peter Parker. Fangamer released a bunch of Conker's Bad Fur Day merchandise recently, with the best one being a plush of the great Mighty Pooh that actually sings the song. I never thought I'd see the day. I might actually have to try to get that one. That is just too good of a plush. Also on May 10th, there's a Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak digital event happening, so if you're into Monster Hunter Rise, definitely check that one out. And then finally, I'm not a big Fortnite fan, but Fortnite added Sakura and Blanca skins to Fortnite, and man, that Blanca skin looks awesome. I love the suit Blanca. That's just great. I hope that actually shows up in Street Fighter itself someday. Looking good. Alright, well that's everything I wanted to talk about in this video. If you haven't already, go pick up the Min Min Amiibo. And if you guys have any thoughts or comments about any of the stuff I talked about in this video, leave them below.
Remember to like the video, leave a comment in the section below, and subscribe to Papa Gino's
Twitter, Patreon, Discord, Twitch.